what is the current digital payment scenario in India as of now?
Okay. So, things were evolving really fast in India because, like we've talked about last year, digital payments were becoming a norm for India, right? POS deployments were going up. UPI was really becoming a big deal. At the same time, payments through credit was becoming ubiquitous. So all the things that we talked about last year were coming true, right? Uh, Having said that, as soon as sort of COVID hit, we did see that cash holdings in India did go up. That was probably a reaction for people being defensive,
Mm-hmm.
right? But as of today, as people start being a little worried using instruments like cash that are going from hand to hand, uh, we would actually, my belief is that we'll actually see a spurt in digital payments, where people who would not want to use, instruments like cash to make payments, they'll actually move to digital payments. That's one. And as part of the digital payments, move to digital payments, some of them will actually prefer contactless payments as well, right? So, when demonetization happened, we did see a spurt in digital payments, but kind of went back to the general curve, right? But since this is going to be a long-term thing, I do expect that this is going to be a catalyst for digital payments in India.
Okay, so you do think that more than demonetization, this COVID situation that this country is going through right now is more of a boost to the digital payments industry.
Yes, I truly think so. And I can already see signs of that. For example, I recently went to a grocery store right next to my house, and the one or two other customers who were there were specifically asking for, "Hey, where's the static QR code? I don't want to pay with cash." Or, does your POS device support contactless payments? Those are questions that customers are asking right now. And I do see that that is something that is at the top of mind of customers, and it's going to be a story that we'll see repeated very often going forward.
Fantastic. So this is also a good driver to let people know how convenient digital payments is, and not just from a safety aspect of it.
Right, absolutely. So the other sort of trend that I'm seeing, and that's actually good for a company like EasyTap, is that people will avoid going to crowded locations like malls, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Uh, but the brands who are at these malls would like to still continue to have a direct experience with customers.
Right.
Some of them will actually, of course, marketplaces will still do well,
Yeah.
right? But they would actually like to own a direct experience with customers, and therefore they'll try to create an ordering experience
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't require their customers to come to malls, but they still would like to create an experience that would enable them to have that one-on-one conversation with them, right?
Uh-huh.
So I do expect deliveries to go up, right?
Right.
Earlier, deliveries was primarily a forte for e-commerce companies, but I do see that changing. And I see that a lot more companies would either be using delivery aggregators or
Mm-hmm.
would try and do delivery themselves, right? And deliveries is truly a forte for a company like EasyTap, because we were one of the pioneers who helped the e-commerce companies of today
Right.
manage delivery payments, right? So I see that as a big opportunity for someone like EasyTap to help these companies manage deliveries and manage payments through deliveries in a contactless manner.
How big a change did the COVID-19 pandemic trigger in consumer and merchant behavior, especially in the payment sector?
It's still evolving. I mean, some of the things I'm talking about are just initial signs that we are seeing.
Mm-hmm.
uh, we are seeing a big bazaar, for example, creating a small website where people can do orders and doing deliveries, etc. But we are seeing, companies like DMart are seeing a lot more interest in deliveries and pickup at pickup points, right? So it's still evolving. We don't really know how this will evolve. And therefore, it's really important to point out that, the, the fact that someone like EasyTap can actually support various ways in which, these companies need to be supported, right? That's important. For example, we can do dynamic QR displays, right?
Right.
That's interesting because one of the largest e-commerce companies who do collect payments on delivery are seeing 30% of their payments move to UPI QR, for example, right?
Right.
So
That is a
then
huge number.
that's
Yeah.
a pretty big number. You wouldn't expect that, in certain markets, 30% of deliveries would actually move to UPI, but we already were seeing this before COVID hit, right? I
Mm-hmm.
expect that number to go up significantly once, the lockdown opens and, we move back to life as usual, right? The other is, for example, when a delivery person comes in and wants to do a delivery at your home, the resident associations are being very careful. Some of them are not being allowed to enter through the gate,
Oh, yeah.
and
Yeah.
right. So, or being just saying, hey, just leave it down at the security guy who's sitting at the bottom of the apartment, right? So, therefore, the ability to support interactions where the delivery guy still needs to collect payments, but
Mm-hmm.
he's not directly interacting with the end consumer, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And those are situations we've seen before, right? Where we actually supported them, where the customer is not at the home,
Right.
and the delivery agent is just sending a link to uh, the customer to
Right.
enable payments.
Right.
But at the same time, he has real-time information about what the customer is doing, right?
Right.
He knows whether the link was opened, whether the payment was done, whether the payment was successful. All of those things are actually being fed back real time to the delivery person.
And that's happening instantly at that
That's
moment.
as happening real time, right? So the ability to support those experiences, the ability to support those interactions
Mm-hmm.
is something we've done before. And we are seeing those patterns sort of take on new use cases
Mm-hmm.
with how COVID is evolving. So, but again, I don't have all the answers right now. We have to see how this evolves, how companies react to it. But
Absolutely. Yep.
because we've been sort of been in the space of anywhere, any type of payments, we think we'll be in a good position to support them going forward.
So, apart from retail industry that you just spoke of, and also e-commerce and delivery in particular, what other industries do you think are affected by this whole situation?
No, I mean, those are the ones, I mean, we've been talking about, but it's truly across the board, right? Everything
With respect to
is
payments in particular, the healthcare sector, the education sector.
yeah. So everybody will have to reinvent. That's the truth, right? Because uh, interactions that we were used to are going to go away, right?
Right.
So everybody will have to reinvent, whether it's healthcare, whether it's pharma, whether it's education sector, right? Whether it's high-end retail, right?
Mhm.
Or e-commerce and deliveries, grocery, everything. So point is, everyone is sort of in a discovery path right now.
Right.
Okay, and as they discover how they will start doing business, they'll be sort of ensuring that they can support their customers well. They
Right.
can create a good brand experience and create a good payment experience. And fundamentally, in the third thing, because we've been out there creating new use cases, supporting them in these new use cases in the past, we think we're in a good position to support them in the future as well.
EasyTap, as being a technology company, EasyTap has come to the forefront with an array of solutions, especially packaged under the name of zero contact payments. Now, can you
Right.
throw some light on what exactly zero contact payments is and how it can add more value to, say, a business?
Absolutely. So, before, about 3 months back, if you had asked me zero contact payments, I would have just said, hey, there are these contactless cards that are coming in, and it's still sort of getting to critical mass in India. You could just tap your card on a POS terminal and make a payment. That is what I would have said 3 months ago, right? But how things are evolving, I would actually make a bigger story around zero contactless payments going forward, right? So one, I've already spoken about how UPI QR and dynamic QR, for that matter, is a means of payment.
Right.
For example, that grocery customer hunting for a QR code because he doesn't want to handle cash, right? So, but static QR codes are not that great because you just get a notification on your phone, and then it's difficult to reconcile at the end of the day what payments you've actually received,
Right. So,
right?
Bhaskar, I'm going to stop you right there for our viewers, especially. Can you briefly explain what the difference between static and dynamic?
Absolutely. So, static QR codes is what it at a small retail location where a bank or a private player has stuck a sticker with a QR code at that location. Sometimes you'll see 4 or 5 QR codes, right?
Right. Right.
Because there are lots of people competing for that attention,
There's a
right?
Google Pay, phone
But
pay, and all the mobile wallets.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But the problem with that is that you can take out your favorite app and pay, and you can show the customer, so the merchant, hey, look, I've paid, right? But the merchant is basically relying on a SMS or notification is getting
Right.
to actually see the payment. And
Right.
at the end of the day, he actually has to sort of see, okay, these were the orders I created on my billing system, and these are the notifications I got, and he has to figure out if I actually got paid properly, right? With a dynamic QR code, on the other hand, right, a QR code is being generated with that billing information. So it has the amount information in it, it has the vendor's information in it, and when the customer is sort of scanning it, he actually doesn't have to put in any information. Everything is embedded in the QR code. He just quickly makes a payment, so it's easier for the customer to pay as well. And the merchant is actually able to tie the information about the payment to the specific order that he had, so reconciliation becomes a lot easier for him, right?
And this
So
kind of QR code is generated for one particular transaction on the fly.
yes,
Okay.
exactly. So it's actually generated on like a phone or something that can create a display and show it, right? So the example I gave you of a big e-commerce company getting 30% payments is something we support today, where the delivery agent actually generates a QR code
Right.
on the fly,
Mm-hmm.
and the customer just scans it from a distance, makes the payment. The customer knows the payment is done. The delivery agent gets to know the payment is done, and
Okay.
the e-commerce company knows that, oh, for all these orders, I've actually gotten payment, because they're able to tie it with the order and tell the e-commerce company, right? So therefore, it's a much better experience for all parties involved, right? So that's an interesting use case, right?
Right.
That's one. The other one also I touched upon, which was the hey, the delivery agent is not able to come to your home. He's uh, he's sort of stopped at the gates. He still needs to know the payment was done real
Right.
time, right?
Right.
And the way we've built our infrastructure, as soon as the payment is done over multiple forms of payment, right? The the delivery agent gets to know immediately whether the payment was done. He's sure he's not sort of giving away the goods.
Mm-hmm.
He walks away with payment assured, and his productivity improves as well. So that's the second use case, right? And the last use case, which is not yet very prevalent, and I'm I'm very interested. I think it will be a big deal. Is the fact that nowadays, if you walk into a retail store, and it's not happening much, but it's
Right.
lockdown open, right? Uh, Either you are sort of making payments with cash, or you're paying with card, and even contactless is something we support. But think about a situation where you like making payments to UPI, right?
Okay.
But to make payments to UPI, the merchant actually has to pull out his POS machine, find out certain menu items, again
Right.
generate that QR code and make the payment.
Right.
If he had a mobile phone or a tablet that was available to him, he could have a dedicated QR display for the customer. So as soon as he builds it on his billing system on his computer,
Mm-hmm.
that particular display automatically converts and shows him a QR code. And the
Wow.
customer sees the change. Oh, there's a QR code. It's not some sticker that's stuck somewhere, right? He sees a change. He scans it with his favorite app. Payment is done, and the billing system actually gets reconciled immediately and says, yes, payment is done, right?
Fantastic.
So that's something that we think will be interesting. We have actually got this product ready to go, and we are seeing some interest as well. So those are the 3 or 4 sort of ways in which we can support contactless payments. To summarize, contactless cards that we support anyway, right? QR code on display on the mobile phone with delivery guy, right? SMS pay links with real-time updates to the delivery person, and dedicated QR displays. All four are things that we support. And I think these are simple use cases and interesting use cases that will help in a big way to support contactless payments.
Could you tell us about some of the recommendations that WHO and RBI has made on
Right.
this respect?
Yeah. So, RBI, the RBI governor, has actually gone on social media, right, saying, "Hey, let's pay digitally
Right.
because it's safer," right? So RBI is actually supporting digital payments and saying this is a means for the commerce in the country to continue going on
Yeah.
while the consumers and the merchants stay safer, right? So RBI is actually saying, let's try and do more digital payments because it is a means of continuing commerce safely. And there are social media posts from the RBI governor to this
Yes.
end, right?
Yeah.
Even WHO, for example, is also saying that it's better to use instruments that will be safer in the current environment. And this current environment is going to be around for 1 year at least, if not more, right? So there are the regulatory authorities are also supporting and incentivizing us to sort of move to digital payments as we go on with commerce.
Do you think this kind of transformation that the industry is seeing is going to be the norm even after the pandemic ends?
Yes, I think that once consumers start using these patterns, the fact that they'll get used to it and the simplicity of it will take hold. And I think that even after, hopefully, the pandemic goes away soon, once consumers get used to the fact that this is a really nice way of paying and a simple way of paying, these patterns will take hold among consumers.
What do you think, as per you, can we expect a growth in digital payments penetration in India by 2021?
Yeah, absolutely. See, I mean, there are already evidence. For example, people who were sort of shy of making digital payments for their electricity bills. There's already
Right.
evidence
Right.
that old people are doing their electricity bill payments online or through apps, and there's already evidence to that fact once
Wow.
COVID hit, right? So
Yeah.
it's definitely happening, right? So digital payments will definitely see a fillip based on evidence we've just seen in the last month, right? And as when commerce was actually, significantly hit around the world, right? So as the commerce, as lockdown opens up and the commerce starts taking shape, we will see digital payments going up.
What are some of the highly technology driven projects that EasyTap is working on or that EasyTap has in the pipeline for now?
Sure. So, uh, right now, we invested a lot in the last 1 year
Right.
in ensuring that we can offer affordability solutions for our customers, and we already have gone launched that and gone to market with it, right? So we'll keep ensuring that affordability as a means for consumers to buy is something that we keep supporting, right?
I'm
This is
going to stop you there, Bhaskar. Sorry, but could you also again explain a little bit on what you
Yeah,
mean
sure.
by
What
affordability?
affordability means. So, especially in this world, right, where people are not getting paid that often, for example, right? There are layoffs happening. So
Yeah.
disposable incomes in the Indian diaspora will go down, right? And when that happens, the need for credit will go up,
Right.
right? So the ability to buy things on EMI, or even if you do not have a credit card for that matter, to be able to use a debit card and still make EMI purchases, or even make EMI purchases if you have the ability to get credit from an NBFC company, right? That is going to be pretty key. I think credit is going to be a big deal as the lockdown opens and people's disposable incomes go down. So we want to keep investing in that area, right? And ensure that we are able to support the Indian consumer to make payments through credit. So that's going to be an area of focus for us. Of course, delivery is where delivery and e-commerce is something that we are really strong in, right?
Okay. Okay.
And as more and more companies sort of experiment with delivery or
Mm-hmm.
work with their delivery partners, we want to ensure that we are able to support all possible use cases
Right.
in that area through contactless payments or digital payments,
Mm.
so that it may become a tri-party kind of thing. There's a brand who wants to own the experience, but there's a delivery partner who's doing the delivery, right? We want to ensure that we can work with the delivery partner and the brand to create the best experience possible for the end consumer, right? So that's going to be an area of focus for us as well, right? So I talked about credit, I talked about delivery being sort of big areas for us. At the same time, there's going to be continuous expansion in markets that where digital payments have not taken off yet, right?
Right.
And
Right. Mm.
and so although I can't get into the details right now, but we are sort of experimenting with technologies that allow people to take digital payments without investing a lot in the infrastructure of taking digital payments.
Fantastic. And that's restricted to not just tier one cities, pan India.
Right. Correct.
And you're
Yeah.
also saying in the near future, I'll be able to order a TV off an online platform and be able
Mhm.
to pay by my card on an EMI
Right.
while the card on delivery happens.
Absolutely. Yes. Right. So I
Fantastic.
think those are the three, as to summarize, right? It's ensuring affordability is important so that consumers can buy even if their disposable incomes are not high. Support delivery use cases in all shapes and forms, right? And find a way to support India in places where they're not ready to pay a lot of money for the payment infrastructure,
Right.
but still want to take digital payments. Those are sort of the 2 or 3 areas that we will be investing in.